Alright, back here with part 2 of my initial impressions from Scourge of War Chancellorsville. So that brigade is still not moving. I'm definitely going to have to take command of it. The take command feature is something that's available in all the Scourge of War games as well as the take command games before them. And the take command feature, what essentially you do is your units, other than yourself, the units are all run by a artificial intelligence, which is very impressive in my opinion. But if you want, you can actually take command of the units where you literally will command them in a micromanagement style. So for example, if you've ever played the Sid Meier's, Gettysburg, Antietam, or the games that were made about Napoleon, like Waterloo, Napoleon's Last Battle, Austerlitz, Napoleon's Greatest Victories. In those games, you literally commanded every regiment, told them exactly what to do, and the only thing they would do on their own is basically open fire unless you told them not to, and maybe wheel left or wheel right to meet oncoming forces. Other than that, units would basically stay still unless you gave them orders. That might have changed a little bit in Austerlitz if memory serves me right, but that was quite a bit ago. In this game, however, and all the other Take Command and the Scourge of War games, the enemy will, or your units will react as they see fit. It's kind of like a simulation of having your own general. And if you take command, they will not react. I don't even know if they'll wheel. They really don't do a whole lot if you're taking command. As you see there, my attack on the right is going fairly well. I've driven off a couple of artillery batteries now. Still not moving, so at this point, let's see here. I don't think I've taken command yet. Let me check. One moment. Yeah, they're on all-out attack. Where is it? Oh my goodness, I've been staring at it the whole time. That little flag button is the take command button, by the way. So now I'm going to take command and order them off. And I still don't know why those units off on the left are not attacking. But anyways, I was saying, in this game, when you take command, you literally totally control a unit. I don't even know if they wheel. It's basically like turning off the AI. And you start commanding units. At the divisional level even, that's something you can really can afford to do. At the corps and army level, it's not nearly as easy to do. There's just too many things going on, and so that AI feature really is necessary. I mean, Shaler's been doing a pretty good job of launching his attack, pretty much independent of what I've been saying, other than I've told him to attack and kind of where to go. He's driven back several regiments, driven back several artillery batteries, and now he's advancing there on the right. So things are going well there. I still haven't taken my objective. There you see again, it's the second time another order's popped up. One thing is, as I said, you send orders by courier, but so does the enemy. The computer has to send a courier to its units to issue them orders. So if that courier runs in between your line of sight, or in between, well, more along the lines of into your line of fire, and gets killed, you'll be able to read the report, which can be beneficial at times. It can tell you there's an attack coming at one point or another. And I believe it also updates on the map, which I haven't pulled up here, where the enemy's supposed to attack, based off the orders you picked off. Now, it can get a little bit annoying, as anytime a courier is killed, they'll automatically dispatch another, so it can sometimes seem to lead to an endless loop where they keep sending couriers into your line of fire. See, there's still quite a bit of rebels off there to the right. They do have some breastworks there that they're kind of hunkering down behind, and I still haven't even launched my attack here on the left toward the main objective. I kind of got drawn off to the right, which is easy to do in this game. Even when you've got kind of unlimited zoom ability, it's very easy to get lost in the battlefield and kind of drawn into one area versus another. That's a pretty realistic feature of, troops getting deployed in areas where they weren't really intended to, drawn out and not really following their orders because they got suckered or lost or something to that effect. As you see there is an objective there that I'm approaching. That little gold icon up there is an objective. There the enemy is hunkered down behind some breastworks, surely giving them a very large advantage. It's another thing they've added, looks like cut down trees. I don't know if they're cut down from being chopped down to make those breastworks or if they were destroyed by artillery, but that's a nice little graphical feature that was not included in the previous version that is included here. Okay, now that I took command, my unit's finally advancing on the enemy. Driven, well, they're wheeling, but they've got a skirmishing regiment there, which shouldn't be too difficult to throw back, and they've got some artillery. So hopefully I can move up and take this objective rather speedily. I do believe I'm going to lose this battle at this point. I haven't taken any of my objectives yet, and you do need to take your objectives and hold them for a certain amount of time. You get more points the longer you hold your objectives. Seeing as I haven't done that yet, I probably will lose this battle rather decisively. You can rout your enemy in this game, I've noticed, and still lose the battle because you didn't take the proper points on the map, which does a good job of simulating reality in the sense that you know, you need to kind of follow the plan. You're not the overall commander in this scenario, and you need to follow your orders. But at the same time, a lot of times commanders didn't listen to orders, so it doesn't leave to quite as much flexibility. There's one rebel regiment caught between, looks like 3 of ours, so I don't think they'll be able to hold out long. That's a good thing. I like that they advanced that regiment over open field there. We'll charge them to draw back their skirmishers, and given the fact that their flank is exposed, maybe we'll have them issue a charge order as well. I just have to wait for my courier to get there. It's another thing that you notice in this game is that there's somewhat of a realistic delay between when you want to give orders and when they're actually given, which can lead to some units carrying out orders, you know, out of sync with others, which is pretty accurate. I mean, it's realistic in the sense that, you know, it's hard to coordinate an army to move all at the same time. There they go. Off into the enemy flank. One thing this game could do a little bit better is it seems like a lot of times the combat is centered around the flag rather than around the actual individuals. So you can, if, for example, we've seen it a couple times here, is when you have men in skirmish column, if the enemy walks over the flank of the skirmish column, there isn't any effect because it seems like the whole simulation of the regiment is tied in to a pretty close, I don't know what to call it, but pretty close to wherever the flag is. One regiment there is basically to the rear of the enemy. Alright, we drove that regiment back, so there we go. Another enemy regiment's forming up there on the flank, kind of, though, so things are developing here. I would think things are going well on this part of the battlefield, but it's kind of hard to say at this point still. Well, still not launching an attack with that brigade to my left. Lovely. Lovely. Second brigade, working on driving back those guns. Officers can be killed, as you see this one kind of moving out on their own. Officers can be killed, and if your character is killed, you do lose the battle. Haven't seen myself get killed at any point yet, although I did get killed as Lee in one of my scenarios in Antietam. For what it's worth, the breakdown of the scenarios, like I said, I noticed 20. The press release does say 22, but I noticed there are 20. The breakdown goes as follows. There's 3 brigade scenarios, which honestly are kind of my favorite. The brigade and division scenarios, you really get a sense of a bigger battle existing around you, and it kind of gives you that immersed experience, which is still dynamic because a lot of it changes based on what happens on the field of a real battle. But the breakdown of the scenarios are 3 brigade scenarios, which isn't as many as I would like, but still, you know, it's a very good game from what I've seen so far. 11 divisional. They make up the vast majority, which makes sense, as I said, because I think the orders system works best at the divisional level. I feel like when you get to the army level, you kind of lose a sense of what it would really be like to be an army commander, because you really don't do a whole lot. Granted, army commanders did give very often, they gave very broad instructions. You know, they'd tell General Longstreet, you know, hold your position, or attack on the right, or attack on the left. They might not necessarily detail how they wanted that done, but even so, from a gameplay standpoint, you know, playing as an army commander isn't quite as much fun, in my opinion, because there's a lot less that you actually manage yourself. And there's also there are 5 core scenarios. So as I said, 3 brigade, 11 army, 5 core level, which the order system still works somewhat adequately for the core level. And then you also have 1 army scenario where you take on the role of Robert E. Lee. At least I believe it's Lee. I'd have to get back in there and check. Things on the right are not going quite as well. Looks like they drove some of my regiments back. Those breastworks are really playing havoc. You got to be careful with that. I mean, you know, men hiding behind logs when your men are standing up in an open field, obviously the logs have a big advantage. Thought I was doing better than I was, apparently. And then in the center, I'm pushing them back, but it's not developing very quickly, so this is pretty clearly going to be a defeat on my part. I'm about to take this objective, but as I said, you need to hold it for a reasonable amount of time, and I moved too slow. My marching was inefficient, and I got caught up, and boy, is that a realistic kind of portrayal of how warfare works. Maneuver is so important. Getting your men into the proper position in a speedy time before they actually engage the enemy is possibly the most important part of any fight. Okay. Working on driving them back here. It's been almost 30 minutes. Time's got to be close to being up. Given that I do believe this scenario must be ending, I'm going to give a quick wrap-up. Overall, it's a very nice addition to the game. As a standalone game, it's excellent. It has all the same features and some improvements over Scourge of War Gettysburg. So if you don't have Gettysburg, check this out. If you are interested in Gettysburg, Matrix is running a promotion where they give you, I believe, 15% off of Gettysburg if you buy that in the same purchase as you get Chancellorsville. But you don't need Gettysburg. If you want, you can just grab Chancellorsville first and test it out. Don't get Antietam or Pipes Creek without purchasing Gettysburg first, though, because that is a required game for those to work. Those are map packs. This is a standalone, although it does build in, as I said, through a smart install. As you see there, the game is over. I have lost. But as I was saying, I'm pretty impressed with the game. It adds some nice features, adds some nice graphics. Really, the biggest improvement is the graphics. Mainly the water, and then also the trees seem to be much improved, as well as the ground cover a bit. But that's going to be it for this game. Overall, a solid effort, solid addition. I'll do a more thorough review, but my initial impressions are I'm pretty impressed, and we will see where we go from here. But thank you for watching, and stay tuned for my future stuff. Subscribe, like, and have a great day.